Is it live now?
And we're live.
Hi everyone, Happy New Year and cheers to everybody. Cheers to all the
Cheers.
members.
It's
Cheers,
only
Christine.
9. It's only 9, so I'm having coffee.
Mine's actually fizzy water, but I could kid on it's a G&T.
I thought about that. I thought about using just having orange juice and lemonade and saying that it was a mimosa, but still need coffee.
We can be hope. We'll just need to wait till later on, Christine. So Happy New Year. It's good to see you.
Happy New Year. Hard to believe it's 2022. We've been waiting for this for so long.
I know.
Well, not really, because we've only known about it for a couple of months.
Yeah. So we've been planning this for a couple of months, and gosh, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. Planning, organising, accepting new members, getting new members subscribed, and it's gone sky high. So really pleased.
So exciting.
Actually, before we start, Christine, I just want to thank you for the lovely coasters that you sent me for Christmas. Look at this.
I know, look at that.
One's with my business logo and one's with the Kilted Ancestors logo. And we've actually both got the Kilted
Ancestor shirts. Yeah,
T-shirts
Claire made our shirts, so we're matching.
So we do, as I said, we do have a lot of new members, and I thought it would be only fitting if we actually introduce ourselves, because not everybody will know us. So my name is Claire Wilson. I'm a professional genealogist with Treehouse Genealogy. I'm based in central Scotland. Love the fact that I have Scottish ancestry. Love everything Scottish, everything tartan, hence this logo, and the Kilted Ancestors group. Grew up like a lot of people talking about my family, getting interested in it. It was something that all my family members, they all passed those stories down. And it really just engaged me as a child. I help other people worldwide now find out more about their own family history. The other interest that I have, which you'll probably notice from what's in the background, is I have a special interest in Allied Air Force research. So I have two websites. I've got my Treehouse Genealogy and I've got my Allied Air Force research website as well. So if it's not Scottish, it's Air Force with me. Christine?
It was funny because when we first logged in, I just got you weren't in it yet, and it said it was a command bunker, and I thought, what the heck? Where has she got me here?
I can't, when I go to an Air Force museum, the other coaster that I've actually got here is Flying with the RAF.
Ah, fabulous.
So when I go to, they just see me coming. When I go to an Air Force museum, I spend an absolute fortune in the shops. But, on the plus side, my husband always knows what to buy me for Christmas.
Well, and it always adds to your learning, right? So.
I know. So for everyone that doesn't know you, Christine, tell us a bit about you.
So I was born in Scotland. My mom was from a very large family. My grandpa fathered 22 children. 20 of them lived to adulthood. And my dad was the youngest of 8. Now his family weren't quite as boisterous. They were a bit more civilized. Anyway, there was it was always people. And every time people gathered, it was stories. We came to Canada when I was really young. My mom was homesick. She really missed the chaos of the large family. So her and I went back for about 2 months. And, went to see all the family again. And then once I hit school here in Canada, the family started coming to us. And so really from May until September, we had constant company from Scotland. And every time somebody came, they sat and they shared the stories. To the point where my cousin and I were ready just to put a bullet through our heads. It was like, oh, please. We already know how this one ends. Same as it did last month. So, but, and then, so my mom and my granny were fabulous storytellers. And then when they both died shortly after one another, I thought, no, my kids need to know these stories. And so that was really the impetus for me getting into family history, was wanting to share the stories. So that's my number one passion. And my second passion is helping people to connect with their Scottish ancestry. Because I can't believe people who have Scottish ancestors that hadn't been to Scotland. I'm like, you
Yeah, so
need to go.
you bring tours, don't you? You bring
Yeah,
tours
I do.
to,
Well, not COVID, but yeah,
well,
I was bringing people over to do research and then hooking them up with people who would take them to their village or their, their granny's gravesite or whatever. And so it was just incredibly rewarding, to be part of that journey for people to really feel connected. I remember saying that it was almost, to me, the sense that people got from that connection was like an adopted child finding their birth family, that suddenly they knew where they belonged. And I know there's a lot of, there's a few Scots who think, oh, the tartan and shortbread crowd, but if that's what gets people there, I'm all for it. I love tartan and shortbread.
so there.
So,
And
and I don't think, I mean, I love Walker's shortbread if I was going to buy any, but I don't think anybody beats my own homemade. So yeah, I'm all for it.
my grand sister made the most amazing shortbread,
Yeah.
and I think she just quickly made it all together. Didn't have a recipe, just knew exactly what
What
went
to
in it,
do. Yeah.
and yeah, I miss that. I wish that we had that recipe. It was just to die for. It really
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
So another thing that obviously both of us do as well is presentations, talks, conferences, and different things as well. And I'm actually moving a bit in this year into tutoring. So for people who hit brick walls and don't know where to go with
Where
it,
to go.
yeah,
Yeah.
to
Good.
be
Good.
one-to-one tutoring. So yeah, I think COVID has had its benefits in some ways.
It has. It's really changed a lot of things. And what I really like about it is that it has brought the world of genealogy to the world.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody has had to pivot and then go online. And so, we're able to access meetings that we would never be able to access.
Yeah.
And speakers and topics, and wow, just incredible.
I know, I think it's a lot. We all spend a bit more time just sitting in front of the
I
computer
know.
watching talks on various subjects.
Yeah.
And you don't need to get out of your pajamas if you don't want to either.
Yeah. But I did this morning. I just want you to know. Top half anyway.
The new t-shirt on.
Top half.
So, I mean, obviously, thinking about that, the one opportunity we couldn't miss out on was Scotland's Year of Stories in 2022.
It's almost like they made that just for genealogists, eh?
Yeah.
Finally. Yeah. I mean, the other one that was really exciting, of course, was the homecoming, but this is every bit as exciting because you don't have to move. You don't have to plan. You don't have to, well, you do have to plan, but you don't have to spend money, and you don't have to, get your whole family over there, or even yourself. There's no flights, there's no nothing. And you can just sit and really, really be involved in Year of Stories, and get those stories down so that they can be shared for future generations. We don't want those lost.
Exactly. I mean, so Year of Stories it's been deemed Year of Stories by Visit Scotland, and it doesn't just embrace authors, books, poems, as well. It's all about connecting, sharing the stories that have been passed down in our childhood, and telling about where people came from, where they lived. It's a great way to highlight books and obviously famous authors. I mean, one of the ones that you think about is obviously Robert Burns.
Absolutely.
I would think there'll probably be a lot of Robert Burns events over the year as well. And even if you're not known for burying yourself in a book, the love of stories runs deep in all of us. It's a better way to connect with older and younger generations and share the stories and experiences. So we're delighted about this topic. And one of the other things that we do have planned is the Kilted Culture Conference. It took a bit of planning, but we got there, didn't it?
It did. And you know what? The lineup for each one just blows me away.
Yeah.
Just the level of expertise and people so willing to share. It's just incredible. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's an event that's going to take place virtually every quarter. The topics are, in March we have immigration and emigration. So we'll look further into the stories of those who left Scotland in search of a better life, and also those who came into Scotland. In June we have crime and punishment. Who doesn't love a good crime story? Yeah. September we've got industry and occupations. So we'll find out more about some of the industries that are unique to Scotland and how to find records relating to your ancestors. And then in December we have uniquely Scottish. So think tartan, alcohol, foods, everything's Scottish, everything that
Everything's
we all
Scottish.
love,
Everything's
really.
Scottish. Yeah, yeah.
You can, we will pop in for another Facebook live event to go through the Kilted Culture Conference as a separate topic. There
And
is
walk you through the registration process.
we'll walk you through it, who the speakers are going to be, how you can book it, the costs involved, etc. But what we've decided to do is, in the Kilted Ancestors group, the monthly themes that we normally have will run parallel with the topics that we have in Kilted Culture.
But we've broken those down to be a wee bit more in depth, yeah?
Yeah. So I think I've got the list here. Let me just see. So I will put details in the group, and for anyone who subscribes to the Kilted Ancestors email list, you'll get a list of this in the next few days. So the first quarter is kind of immigration. It's very hard to talk about this one over 3 months. We quickly realised. So what we've done is we've actually made January about Scottish folklore.
Yeah. Well, we thought that we should, it's Year of Stories. We should start out with stories.
Yeah.
And so that's exciting.
It'll be interesting to see, what stories. So, is it Loch Ness? Is it the Kelpies? What stories were passed down? What's your favourite Scottish story? Then in February we speak about family who moved into Scotland. So that could be they went to America, they came back. It could be the Irish moving to Scotland, people
English,
moving further north. Yeah. March is for families who left Scotland, that spread all over the world. And then we move into the next quarter, which is crime and punishment. So April will be crime stories. Have you found a criminal ancestor? Do you have a favourite crime story in Scotland that you want to talk about? May is on the opposite side, police stories. Do you have police ancestors? What can you tell us about them? And then in June we have skeletons and scandals.
Those are always good.
Do you know what's funny? Because I've been looking ahead thinking, what am I going to post about this one? I don't really have
I got good
hell of a lot. I know you've got a few. But I don't have a hell of a lot, and I kind of thought there's some things that I suppose in that time period were skeletons and scandals, but nowadays
they're just really, every day.
Yeah.
I remember talking to a friend who she's a genealogist as well, and saying she had just uncovered some scandal in her family, and I said, the things that they were ashamed of, we're so rah about now, right? And so that's where the skeleton comes in, is that they would have been really upset by that. It would have been a stigma.
Well, that's it. I mean, one of the things that I thought about for this topic was, asylums, because you look at,
absolutely.
Asylums, and nowadays, obviously, mental health is something that's so much, thankfully, so much more openly spoken about. But in those days, there was such a stigma about it.
Absolutely.
But I mean, I've got a relative that was put in there because she was going through money worries and the change of life.
Well, and you know what? So many of them, when you read their stories, Claire, it was women in postpartum depression.
Yeah.
They were just overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And today, I mean, we put in all kinds of supports and get the mother and the baby through it. But
that's it. In those days, just checked into the local asylum.
And my mom, I mean, she was a psychiatric nurse, so lots of stories from her about that. So
so that's the crime and punishment section. The next quarter would be industry. So for July we cover weaving and textiles. A lot of people in Scotland worked in the weaving industry.
Yeah.
I've got loads actually from kind of Tillicoultry area. So lots of stories that I could share on that. August is mining. I'm sure
that's my history.
Yeah. I think we've all got miners as well.
Shale mining and coal mining, yeah.
Yeah, and then September we move on to steelworks and shipping as well. Obviously, shipbuilding was
the one we didn't cover, actually, I'm just thinking about now, was agriculture, because a lot of them were just farmers as well. We'll need to fit that in somewhere, Dal.
I wonder if we can juggle that about. We'll come back to you. We might juggle that about before you get the list.
This is how our planning has gone for the past 2 months.
Lots of Zoom calls and lots of Facebook chats.
Lots of, let's add.
Text messages late on at night because we've got a time difference as well.
Yeah.
And then obviously the last quarter is uniquely Scottish. So we move on to October, we've got retail and shopping. November, we have food and recipes. And the plan actually is to share family recipes and perhaps try and publish a little recipe book that we can put into the group, which would be, I think, would be fab.
Kilted Ancestors recipes, that would be fabulous.
Yeah. And then December, we've got cocktail recipes and favourite
also
drinks, alcohol,
Kilted Ancestors cocktails,
whiskey makers, favourite whiskies. Yeah. So it's going to be really exciting. I'm trying to plan a lot of my topics and what I'm going to cover for these stories ahead of time. Each month, we will pop into the group and do a Facebook Live. And during that time, we're also going to have some speakers coming in and doing little presentations. So let me just have a look at some of the lineup. So we've got Angela Day. Angela's going to come in and talk about tips for taking photographs with your smartphone. Leslie Marsh, she's actually coming in at the end of this month. She's going to tell us a folklore story. Yeah. Annette McGarrell's going to tell us about how she discovered a family story and it led to her publishing a book. We have
a very good book, by the way.
Yeah, we've both read it. And then Janet from One Place Studies. I don't know if anybody, I'm certainly registered for a couple of One Place Studies. And you're thinking about one, aren't you?
Thinking about one, yeah.
So we've got One Place Studies as well. Coming in, Claire Miller, who writes children's books, is going to be telling us about how to engage children in stories. We have Paula Duncan talking about kilt making, and Graham Johncock from Scotland's Stories.
So if you don't have him on your social media, folks, you want to start following him. He's on Instagram, he's on Twitter, he's on Facebook. Every morning when I have my coffee, I sit down and read his story on Instagram. It is just fabulous. He travels all over Scotland and gives us all kinds of stories. I'm really looking forward to him coming in.
That's like your morning fix now, isn't it?
It is, which is probably better than smoking crack. But
and then the other one that we've got is Jamie Steele. Jamie works with us in the Scottish Tourism Collective, and he's a drone operator. He is going to be showing us how you can capture where people live through drone footage, which is obviously whole new technology, which is fab.
And I can show you how to put that into a book in a QR code so that you can pull it up when you're telling the stories of your ancestors.
Yeah.
But we won't do that at the same time because it's too much.
Yeah. We've also got some whiskey gin companies coming in round about some of the, you get gin month and whiskey month and all these things. So we're going to have some of them coming in talking about cocktail recipes. And also we've got Jim Walker from Images from the Air will be coming in as well to show us how he's got some interesting stories to tell, because the house that he lived in, people came over from Canada and came to visit, so it might be quite interesting to show you how that works out as well. So yeah, we've got lots going on. There will be more speakers being added, and as I say, we will be doing a Facebook Live at the end of the month. If your story is really amazing in that month, it may be discussed. So yeah, time to wow us.
So post so we can share.
Yeah, that's it. And we will drop in every week to post something relating to that topic just to inspire you and keep it going as well. Just remember that there is a code of conduct in the group, so post into the group rather than sharing from your own websites. We don't allow businesses to share posts into their own group, and if you're unsure, just drop me a quick message on Facebook and get it approved beforehand if there's don't want any issues with that. The other thing to think about, and certainly what I've been thinking about, is how do I record everything that I've been doing this year. A course that I enrolled for recently is bookbinding.
Of all things, basket weaving, bookbinding.
I know.
It's funny, you know, once you get into family history, you just take off in a direction that you never would have expected, like bookbinding.
Yeah, that's
Eh?
it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So I've just ordered some paper up. I've been clearing out my craft cupboards over the last couple of days actually, and I'm hoping by the end of this month I might have some inspiration for you. So that could be that you buy a notebook and you just record it in a notebook. It could be that you make a specific book that covers the posts that you've done. You put it in there every month, and it's your Year of Stories 2022 book that you can then pass down your family. Christine will no doubt tell us about how you can go a bit more modern. I like doing things the old-fashioned way, but you'll go down the publishing route, won't you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, the digital publishing. But you know what? I mean, listening to you, a couple of chats ago, saying that you wanted to do that, I thought, what a brilliant idea. So I actually have started, because yesterday was January 1st. Just collecting the posts that I've put up, and so I'm really looking forward at the end to looking back and seeing all that we've uncovered and we've learned and we shared. It's going to be very exciting.
That's it. And I mean, I know we're going to come on and do a bit about the Kilted Culture Conference, but one of the things that we're going to do is, if you book, you can book them individually, but if you book all 4, there will be a free event that you can attend. And in that, it's all going to be about pulling the stories together. So it's going to cover photography, publishing books, memoirs. I'm going to do a bit on journaling, and I'm hoping that by that point, this new bound book that I've made will have a lot of the stories that I can then show and say, you can journal and you can actually put the stories in that, and then it's something that can be passed down in the family as well.
Perfect.
So yeah, it's all very exciting.
Very exciting.
Yeah. So the theme for January is obviously Scottish folklore. Go in, tell us about what stories were passed down. What's your favourite story and why? Did you have personal ones in your own family that were told to you just by your parents or your grandparents? Get sharing and think about some of the themes for the rest of the year, and we'll get some details off to you soon. There is a section when you join the group that lets you subscribe to the group. If you didn't fill that out, then you can go back now and do that. I will share the link for that next to this video.
Is that for the newsletter, Claire?
That's to go in, to get it emailed to you so that you don't miss anything.
Where we'll get prompts and stuff. So
yeah, so we'll do that. And remember to invite your friends, invite your family along.
More the merrier.
More the merrier. So we look forward to seeing you soon. We will let you know when the Kilted Culture Facebook Live is going to happen, and we'll share details about how you can book that very soon.
Excellent.
All right, so get your thinking caps on and get posting, people.
Can't wait to read them.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.